Hello, everybody. My name is Mo Elias. I own a frame shop in New York called Big Apple Art Gallery and Framing. I also have a software that manages picture frame shops called Framing POS. Today, we have assembled a panel to discuss the impending tariffs and how that affects our industry. We're going to keep the politics out of this. We're just going to discuss what we can do to improve our businesses. I'm going to go around the room, the virtual room, and ask everybody to introduce themselves in maybe 10 to 30 seconds. Matt, you want to go first?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, thanks for inviting me. My name is Matt Slowbogan. I'm the owner of the Preservation Framer, just a small mom and pop picture frame store. We focus on quality preservation techniques with lately more of an interest in American sourced hardwoods. And I do make some of my own frames, trying to make more. We also do photo restoration, and we have an art gallery as well. And we are south of Boston and north of Providence. And I'll bring it to James.
James?
Right on. Thanks. My name's James Thorpe. I'm the CEO and one of the owners at Picture Woods. We're based in Boulder, Colorado. We are a manufacturer of hardwood picture frames. So we just make picture frames and we just make them out of hardwood. We send all over the US. We don't currently do business in any other countries. And everything that we make is from the United States. So we source all of our lumber from the US. Everything that we do is manufactured in our facility. So we're not bringing any molding, outsourcing any molding, doing anything from any other countries. So we're just fully in the United States. And like Matt, we focus on the high end of the market. We're a quality manufacturer. So I think that's a good start. Thanks.
Okay. Taylor?
Yeah, my name's Taylor Hill. My wife and I own Angleson Frame and Molding. Angleson's been around about 70 years, but we took over ownership just a few years ago. My wife is the president of the company, but she's at home with our 8-month-old daughter. So I'm filling in her shoes. We kind of specialize in a higher end product, kind of like James, but most of our stuff is imported. Most of our stuff's handmade in Italy. So it's an interesting discussion regarding manufacturing in the U.S. versus importing stuff and the different implications. But welcome to be here and appreciate you having us.
Thank you. Mustafa?
Hi, my name is Mustafa Khan. I own Menlo Park Framing. I don't do a lot of high end. I focus on the middle end and the low end, maybe a higher middle end. My area doesn't support, higher end. It's very rare that I get some. But I focus on design mostly. That's what I'm famous for in the area. And of course, preservation. I do museum quality framing to the max, regardless of the price. I sell poly, I sell wood, whatever it comes, I'll take. And I do printing and photo restoration and stuff like that. So that's
you do great work. I follow you on Instagram and you do great work. And,
thank you.
I'm also friends with Mustafa, so I'm kind of biased. All right, So let's get started. I have some questions. So the way I assemble this, we have picture framers, myself, Matt, and Mustafa, and we have manufacturers, domestic, which is James and Taylor, who has a lot of imported products. So I try to get a different perspective from all the different points of view. Okay, so I'm going to start with the picture frame shop owners. Basically, the first question is: have the tariff announcements affected your pricing, your purchasing, or your conversations with your customers? Guys, you want to take it?
You want to go ahead, Matt?
No, you can start.
All right. So I'm in an area where everybody feels the money around us. House prices jacked up, groceries high, everything is going off the hook in Jersey. So my customers feel everything. I feel it. Certainly, I feel it. And then, they talk to me and stuff like that. And then I make them laugh. And then I've made them forget about the price. And I charge them what I can.
You've got the personality.
Yeah, I got, it works, to be honest with you. But already we've seen some of the companies, they raise their prices. So I cannot increase my prices as much as I want because I'm not high end. But I increase it enough where it covers,
The difference?
the 5%, the 10%.
Mhm.
Yeah. If I can increase it or it's too expensive, then I'll deliver it for you. Give me another $40. I'll hang it for you. Instead of $150, I'll charge $100.
So you're adding more value to the purchase, right? For the same price you're hanging for.
We have to, right?
Sure.
I had an order recently. It was like $7,500 for New York Life.
Sure.
you'd think they have the money, right? It was like 15 pictures, 7,500, and then they're crying. They're like, "No, what are you talking about? This guy did it for me for 5,000." I'm like, "Yeah, but that's poly, and the mats are yellow." I was like, "You want that? I'll give you that, no problem." "No, we want something nice."
Sure.
"All right, then I'll hang it for free." "Okay."
There you go. Yeah. Well, look, that costs, right? So I mean, you give them good value right there.
Yeah, so I gotta work something around it. Now printing, Epson went up 25%, right? Not yet, they didn't hit us yet. I already bought all the materials that I'm overstocked right now. I'm gonna use it
I
for
want to come back to that point. Hold on. I want to come
here.
back to that. I want to know if it's wise for me to buy a bunch of stuff now, but I want to come back to that. Hold on. Hold that thought for a second, okay? Matt, I want to ask you the same question. Have that changed any of your pricing and your conversation with your customers?
It's not changing my pricing because I made that public.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that the residents in this area are pinched. Just like Mustafa said, the housing market is crazy. The price is extremely high, and we have a new high school that's being presented. We'll be voting on that in June, and the new high school means more taxes locally. So there's a lot of things it's not just the tariffs. So there's a lot of things going on that are affecting people's spending. So it is definitely up to us, like Mustafa said, to give more value to that sale, whatever that is. For me, I'm the owner, but I do all the woodworking side of it and the finishing. So if I can sell those, I have more there. I have more in the margins. I look at this like when I first started, I would do almost anything for a customer, and I'm just going to have to go back to that. That's the mindset that I'm taking right now. This feels a lot like when we first opened, where every sale counts, every customer is king, and I really step up and to the plate and wow them.
Sure. I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to go to James. James, since you're U.S. based and you manufacture in the U.S., has there been any increase in interest in your products because you're U.S. based and there are tariffs coming through stuff that's being imported?
I'd say anecdotally, yes. I haven't seen exactly, it's a little hard to gauge that. But in terms of our overall volume, it's been very strong and it seems to have picked up recently. That's certainly a big selling point for us, is that we are completely US based, US sourced. And the same kind of dynamics that are affecting Mustafa and Matt are also going to be affecting us, right? Because we have a US based workforce. Their prices are going up for our workers, for ourselves, right? So we try to keep wages in line with what our employees need to survive, so the biggest pressures we see right now are going to be in labor costs. At least talking to our suppliers, I always talk to our various suppliers about their outlooks on lumber prices, and those dynamics are complicated. But what's at least in the very short term been happening is that a lot of Canadian companies are buying up U.S. hardwood ahead of the tariffs to try to get ahead of that. So probably see like a momentary spike in prices, but I actually don't anticipate that being too long term or even medium term, and we're not raising our prices based on any lumber cost in the short term. The dynamics are always tricky because a softening market in general has effects on how many mills are able to stay open. If mills go out, then you've got less supply, and then all of a sudden, even though there's less demand for lumber overall, you might have spikes in certain species. So it's hard to really predict where it's going to go, but at least at this moment, I'm feeling good about our lumber and our supplies, and the mills that are producing that we use have good supplies and good outlooks for the next 6 months to a year. So those we're in a very good place in terms of our.
I like it. That's very confident.
Yeah,
that's very confident. Thank you.
Yeah.
Taylor, we're going to come to you. So Taylor represents our import vendor. Taylor, have the import tariffs so far affected your pricing?
Yeah, we haven't seen any effect whatsoever yet. Now, obviously, when you first kind of announced doing this, the tariffs that were on the table were a lot different than what they are now. But there's also a lot of exclusions involved there. And lumber happens to have a lot of harmonization codes regarding lumber that are excluded from those tariffs. Now, the argument there is, are they excluded, or are they excluded from this round, and we're going to have separate tariffs put on that? And sure. James is, he kind of hit the nail on the head. I think they've excluded the lumber component, which includes moldings from Europe, places that we import from, like Italy. But that may be because of a larger dynamic that they are playing with the administration regarding lumber and the negotiations they have with Canada and stuff like that. So we haven't seen anything that would cause us any alarm other than the volatility in the markets and the customers being concerned about it. We get lots of phone calls. There's two ways to approach it, in my opinion. There's the hyperbolic freak out approach, or there's the calm, steady approach. What I tell all the customers that are calling to speak with us that are concerned, I got 2 phone calls today. Hey, I buy a lot of this product. Where does it come from? And is it going to go up in price?
Sure.
And it's a legit concern from a business, from a framer's standpoint. But one, you're seeing some companies, like Mustafa said, already raising their prices. And to me, my biggest fear isn't the tariffs themselves. It's companies, suppliers, distributors. They're going to take advantage of these tariffs to raise prices beyond the scope that the tariffs are actually going to impact them. So if a company has a 20% tariff imposed on them and they instantly raise their prices 20%, a lot of people think, oh, they're just passing that expense on. But that doesn't really make sense, because if a company is incurring their product cost of 20% increase, surely the end price is not also going to go up 20%, because the product cost can't be 100% of their revenue. If that's the case, their business model is dead. So to us, down the road, we have no idea. We don't have a crystal ball what's going to happen. But if you see that someone's imposing 10 or 20% tariffs, that should not result in a 10 or 20% increase in price. And if it does, it's distributors or manufacturers trying to squeeze additional margin, which I understand the whole scope of trying to be profitable, but not at the expense of framing partners across our country who are already nervous about the cost of living, the labor workforce, and all these other factors, the softening economy, the increased, consumer debt. We have a lot of things at play, and I'm all for profitability, but not at the expense of people, in the industry that we rely on. So that's my fear, is companies taking advantage. So I'll just say it, Angles and Frame, we're not doing that whatsoever. I don't think, James is the same position, but there are companies already that are announcing increases, and I don't even see how that's possible, given they haven't truly been affected by it yet. Not to mention, these are expenses. If the tariffs do come to fruition and it does hit our bottom expense line, that's only going to be on products that we don't currently have in stock. So you're not going to see the costs of our current inventory go up. Now, if we were to raise prices to help mitigate the future prices, I could see that a little bit.
The replacement part, right?
Yeah, but it's
the product you have in stock. Yeah,
I think it's way too early to jump the gun and start, seeing price pressure on that component of it.
So I want to touch that in a little bit, and I want to come back to you, Mustafa. So Mustafa was talking about stocking up with product, right? Do you guys all think it's a good time right now to kind of stock up on stuff? And what happens if you stock up and all of a sudden the tariffs don't take place? and am I stuck with a bunch of product now that I have to pay for storage and for cash? Mustafa, you want to go because you were discussing that before?
So I have the space.
Okay.
I have a huge back room. I can stock up. I feel like every couple of years in this country, the government throws a wrench into the into the economy, and then we have to figure something out, right? So yeah, you know me, like I worked in the city for a long time.
Sure.
I like to stock up regardless, because God forbid something happens, like COVID happened. I stocked up on 4 floaters: silver, gold, black, white.
Yep.
I always had like 2 to 3 boxes available. Shockingly, I still have them. Some of them still there, but it don't bother me. I like to stock up in case prices go up. Anything, right? Worst comes to worst, I sell them at a discount. For me, it's not a thing. It's not a problem. So, but most frame shops don't have the space. So that's I don't know about Matt. How big is your shop, Matt? Can you handle that?
It's big enough. You have a basement in a 1,600 square foot. I actually have 2 storefronts in the basements of both, but one basement is my width. So there is the other one, but I will stock up on some wholesale products that we do that I have to have, that the prices are so low that if there is an increase, I'm not really sure I can have that relationship. Because similar to what you were saying about the poly and going back and forth between, not so great options, but they want it for, a lower price. So I probably will stock up on the wholesale components that I have. But we'll have to make some decisions, maybe take some vendors off the wall that don't deliver box truck, stuff like that. Definitely go through the entire wall and find the moldings that sell well, and find the vendors that can give me a quality enough product at a lower price, so I can make some money when I have my promotions. Because we're on the front line with all these panicked customers buying one at a time, and we have to convince each one that they're not getting jacked. Similar to what Taylor said in the import industry here, I don't think our customers want to feel that we're jacking things up with an excuse. Yeah. That's why I made sure our marketing recently was just to say that our prices are not going up.
That was a great thing. I want to come back to that, Matt, because I also want to see if you would show me your website where you made that announcement. Sure. It was a great announcement. So hold that thought for a second. James and Taylor, you guys as vendors, are you also stocking up on products that you sell the most? Let's say your top 20%, whatever. Are you doing any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'll go. So we are stocking up not because of the tariffs. I think we've kind of seen a shift in the industry. Of course, we've only owned this company in the last few years. We've seen a huge growth in companies that want to open accounts with Angelson. So because of that, the biggest complaint we have is when we have, a popular product that sells out and then people hate stuff that's out of stock. So we as a company have kind of decided to stock up, even though there's a lot of uncertain times and some volatility. We stock up for that component. But from the tariff standpoint, it's so volatile. I don't know how you could possibly stock up and know whether you're stocking up at the right time or the wrong time. Just like James said, with the cost of lumber, we have some U.S. products we have made, and we don't anticipate it changing, but the wood supply could change drastically depending on what happens with Canada. And if you're going to stock up on blacks, whites, silvers, golds, floaters, stuff like that, I could totally see a frame shop. For us, with a specialized hand gilded Italian product, we try to forecast best we can, but this is not the time where we're panicking and trying to stock up thinking there's going to be a drastic change in supply.
Sure. How about you, James? Anything with the lumber stuff? Stocking?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a nuanced question, and I think there's no perfect right answer. I mean, I've heard reacting, a very helpful kind of metaphor I heard one time for reacting when a lot of, especially when markets are going down quickly, is like it's trying to catch a falling knife, right? So if your prices are going to, if you've got low prices right now, but I want to try to buy the dip or whatever and try to really maximize what I'm buying, well, careful, because you might be sitting on product now that's going to be that you actually bought at a higher price than you wanted to if it's going down in the future. We're all, of course, presuming that prices are going up, so that might not be the biggest concern, but opportunity cost is a huge thing, right? In an uncertain business environment, for me, I want to keep as much cash on hand as I can. I want to
Me
keep
too. Yeah.
flexible to be able to react as things come up. And for us, our facility is pretty big. It's 15,000 square feet, but tying that all up with lumber slows down my day-to-day operation. I've got to move that stuff around to get to another thing. It can gum up the system in lots of different ways. And so there's just stocking up. Your opportunity cost from that can be very high. And so I think it's really a matter of getting more precise with, for us, looking at what our costs are in our price structure so that we can keep a close eye. Okay, when they start to approach our costs in the books, then we're definitely going to need to think about how we can secure long-term more product at that price so that our margins aren't getting hammered. But my approach here is definitely not one from panic buying. I think the only way we survived the 2007, 2008 was taking a slow, measured approach. And, obviously you have to be able to move quickly when the time is right. But that for me means keeping my options open and keeping plenty of cash and cash and human capital. So I need to keep my workers. So we're kind of building up experience and trying to hire up actually in advance so that we have capable people so that when things start to change, we can be flexible and nimble on the floor. So
guys, as vendors, right? What do you guys want to say to your customers to make them feel more confident about the status of the framing industry? James and Taylor, this is addressed to you guys. Say a picture frame shop owner is nervous, tariffs and so on. What would you want to say to them to give them more confidence in the market, in the picture framing market?
Well, that's a loaded question. I spend a lot of time talking to a lot of frame shop owners, and I see both ends. I see people who are really stressed, really freaking out. I see people who are very confident. I see companies that are decreasing in sales drastically with, the tightening of everything. And I see others that are just setting the world on fire. So I think perspective is important. I think when you're in your own little bubble, in your little town or region or city, in your frame shops, you may have had an up or a down, month or quarter, and then you see this news and you stress over it. But I can tell you the industry as a whole is quite healthy. And there are people, like I said, we're opening new accounts all the time. That's not just old frame shops that are now adapting and carrying newer products or new suppliers like us or like James, but it's also people entering the industry. Now, I'm not saying it's a crazy amount of new people in the industry, but people are doing well in this industry. And sometimes when you're an entrepreneur and you're on your own little island and you are stressed and you're dealing with employees and upset customers and rent and overhead and all these things, you kind of forget that. So if I could just be a little beacon of light and say, hey, things are good. Don't stress. Yes, we don't like volatility. Nobody loves the threat of a potential tariff. And especially, I think the biggest concern isn't necessarily the tariffs. It's the unknown of the tariffs and what that'll be. But at the end of the day, things are strong. Keep your head up. And I don't know if James, if you share the same thoughts as me on that, but it's good for people to know that may not be networking with others all the time, And you hear a lot of negativity. You can hear when you're on, the social media and stuff, there's a lot of, sharing of complaints because you're looking for feedback, but you're not always sharing your wins. And I think that's
it always is like that, isn't it though?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on a couple of those things you said, because I just totally agree and couldn't, think right on. And especially just that last one about negativity. It's so much, it's like, it's more fun to complain about stuff than it is to celebrate the good stuff. And you see that all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And, one thing that I've worked on with myself, and I try to work with this with my my employees and my managers underneath as well. It's like just imagining, every time something bad happens, we just go to the worst possible thing, but at least give some room to the possibility that the bad thing that's happening could actually produce something that's better than what you thought. Mm-hmm. And that's how I keep my own sanity. That's not magical thinking. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it's way worse than what I thought. Sure. But at least keeping that possibility open, because that can leave some room for you to think creatively. To get back to the question that you asked, Mo, and I again, I'm going to piggyback on what Taylor said, is I think, what I'd like to share with vendors and our customers is that we're not going to raise prices to gouge people. That's just not how we do business. Like, we're also a small business. I'm trying to take care of my own as a business owner in terms of, my family, yes, and employees, but we don't exist without our customers. Every time I hear negativity on my floor, I try to nip it in the bud right away, because none of our jobs exist without our customers. And so that is the same for a frame shop too. Like, yep. You don't have a paycheck without those people coming in the door. So sure. I just want to promise people that when we raise prices, we do it from a place of, we are looking at every single part of that costing puzzle and absolutely recognizing that when we raise prices, it can reduce margins for other people, but nobody here is getting rich. We're not, there's no Range Rovers in my parking lot. Honestly, I kind of wish there were. I wish there was that, yeah, sure. I wish all my employees and all my customers had that, right? But so we're trying to do what we need to do to stay a well-run business, and we will. What we also do is renew our commitment to the quality and customer service, so that the product that you're getting are going to get the absolute highest yield that you're getting for that sure. money, and that if things are going wrong, that we're going to replace it on our dime and make sure it's right. So that's how that's what I would like to share with folks.
Mustafa, I want to go to you. What are your concerns for the next 6 months, right? I think the pause is 3 months, 6 months?
Yeah.
What are your concerns for the next whatever period they announce the pause is going to be for?
I'm not concerned. Usually I roll with the punches, but I'm also like, I like to be ahead of the game. Luckily, my business has been good this year, way better than last year, so I can't complain. So if I like to stock up all the time when bad times comes in and good time comes in, regardless, because I look for the cheapest frames.
And the good thing is, wood, the kind of stuff we use really can't go bad, right? Mats can't go bad, glass can't go bad.
No. So I always, like, when I see a deal, like sometimes Decor have 30% on glass, I'm buying 10 boxes. I'm not going anywhere. Where I'm gonna go? I mean, but there are shops that make anywhere between 100,000 to 200,000. That's a real struggle. Then, yeah, like James said, you gotta watch what you spend. Keep your money close to your heart. But my biggest concern is more than the framing, to be honest with you. I mean, the glass and stuff like that went up, not dramatically, 25% on the printing products. That's my biggest concern. But we gotta watch and see what's gonna happen with the White House. they're everywhere,
I'm gonna stop you right there, man. I don't want to cross that line.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the guy is like, we're gonna do tariffs on this. We're gonna slow down on this stuff. We're gonna do this. We're gonna take a break on this. It's like, all right, like, but next 3 months to 6 months, I gotta watch what's gonna happen with the politics.
Mustafa, have you run any promotions in the based on the tariffs? Because I have something interesting from Matt that I want to address. Have you run any promotions?
No, every time I run promotions in my industry where I'm at, it really don't make a difference. Even if I put print for free and then I'll charge you for the frame, it doesn't matter what I do. People don't care. I would have like 20% off on stock.
Okay.
And they will come in, they'll buy regular stuff. I'm like, use stock. This is similar. No, I want to use this. All right, cool. So I stopped doing promotions.
Sometimes when you lower the price too
weird.
low, it doesn't increase your sales. So it doesn't matter going a little bit too low, right?
Yeah, but no matter what I offer for custom framing, I don't think it matters. So it's like, you know what? I'll send out my 15% off on stock frames and call it a day. Because anytime I promote something, it don't matter. If customer wants to frame their picture or their artwork, they're gonna come in and frame their artwork. Yeah. So the discounts like that and offering stuff, I honestly stopped.
I've got something cool for you. I noticed Matt had a promotion on his Instagram, so I got in touch with him. Matt, I'll let you speak to that. You want to tell us a little about that, Matt?
Yeah, it's just me trying not to freak out or think about the future. That's basically why my wife, who's my marketing genius director, she's laid off. She got laid off after 17 years working at Hasbro as a toy maker, toy designer and creator. And she's so good at marketing that I'm having her do our work. And I took on family health insurance. So now I'm doing the family health insurance. And now this all kicks in. Last year was our best year. Now we're 20% down this year in the first quarter. So trying not to freak out. I'm going to have to give a promotion. Like Mustafa, I actually stopped doing promotions for a while as I felt like we were just shooting ourselves in the foot, and it worked. We were fine. And I feel like right now with all the panic in the air, that we just got to grease the skids a little bit and assure people two things. One, that we are not going to raise our prices. And on my side,
you want me to share your screen? You want me to put that up?
Sure.
Hold on. So Matt's got a pretty cool promotion here. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. So we just wanted to talk about tariffs right away because that's what everybody is thinking about.
Yeah.
We didn't want to get political, just like on this show here. We're not going to get political. We're just dealing with the realities that we can control, but that is the topic. So we mentioned tariffs. The other thing, what we wanted to do is the screen moving. Can you see that?
Yep.
All right. So we included a little video that we had just made, which is me in my wood shop making frames. We wanted to make sure that our customers knew that we have control over the product, that we're making our own, that it's made in the USA, or a good amount of our offerings are, if not all of the frames that my company makes is me making them, and the wood is sourced in North America from different domestic suppliers. We wanted to let people know that. And then we linked it to our email, which has a promotion. I know I'm running through this quick, but I think you get the idea. We don't do percentages off because I find that we're going toe to toe with the big box stores who do big promotions. I like to talk in dollar values. So we did a $20 off for every 100, and that's per order. And that does resonate with people. They can save $40 very easily. And as you know, an average frame ticket is probably $350, $400. So you're going to save $80 on an average ticket. So that is convincing to our customers. And we had that out, and then we've had 3 days open, and we've done probably $3,500 in sales just from them coming and mentioning it. So they are seeing it, which is good.
Matt, you had a cool tag. What was it? What was the tag? Tariffs, no price increase. What was your tagline? You had a cool tagline that I found.
Okay, I think that might have been on the email.
That was on Instagram, wasn't it?
Yeah, it just said tariffs, no problem. Your local framer has you covered. I think that might have been how we started it.
And you said no price increase, right? Tariffs, no problem. We're keeping the prices the same. Is that what you said?
That's right. Yeah, and then we also offered the discount to.
Yeah. You said tariffs, no problem. Not only we're not increasing prices, but we're offering you a discount, right?
That's right.
I thought it was very clever.
Awesome. That's a great idea.
It got people in, whether this doesn't hit or not. I mean, we got people in, and we needed it because we're down. So,
and listen,
more than that, I'm impressed by your dark lighting in your shop. Joining.
You know what? That's a creative. That's a video being creative. I won't go into all that. Yeah, I don't cut away when it's that dark.
Yeah, you can't see that. But it works, right? It works. It gives you that mood, and I like it. I like it a lot. All right, guys. So I'm going to ask you guys if you have any closing arguments or closing comments. Maybe you want to give a piece of advice. You want to say something. Let's limit it to 30 seconds a person, and we'll start in the order that we came last, so in reverse. Mustafa, you're going to go first, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm gonna say don't panic. Framing industry is always up and down. This is just gonna go as a blip in the big grand scheme of things. Yeah, just stay positive. Like James and Taylor said, I mean, they're the suppliers, so so I think we'll be okay.
Sure. Taylor?
Yeah, I'll just recap. I think there's people that are going to take advantage of the industry and the framing shops around the country, and there's people who aren't. I think James kind of nailed it when he said, we're not going to gouge anybody. I think Picture Woods will not gouge anybody. I don't think Angleston will. I know for a fact Angleston won't gouge anybody, but the bigger companies I'm a little in fear of. But I think one good thing is the industry as a whole has seen these, I'll call us smaller shops, smaller distributors. Even though we can, distribute nationwide, we are family owned. We are trying to take care of our own, but also take care of those framers. So we're going to do what we can to keep those costs down. And from our standpoint, we are not concerned right now, and not for the foreseeable future. So I think we just keep our chin up.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, I think this is a time like to for me, and what I would offer is building relationships and building community. Our best customers are customers that we've had for a long time. The best customer that you can get is one that keeps coming back over and over again. And that's true for a frame shop. That's true for us as vendors. And the way that we relate to customers makes a difference in that relationship. So, whether it's lowering prices or doing goodwill like Matt's doing from promotions, or just like Mustafa was talking about, like adding extra value for your customers right now, like just making that extra effort to make people feel good about the purchases they've made, those are going to pay dividends in the medium and long term. And people are going to walk out of your shop feeling like, cool, I just did business with somebody that I respect. I feel good about that transaction. I'm going to walk away. And then next time I think of doing this kind of business, I might not be able to do it for a little while. Things might get tight. But then on the other side of that, when I want to do business, I'm going to think of that person because the interaction I had was positive and good, and I left feeling good. So
I like that. That's a great point.
Well said.
Matt?
For any frame shops or companies that survived COVID, I don't think this is anything close.
Dude, you just stole my line.
Sorry.
You just stole my line.
Yeah. That's like, right now, like just digging deep and making sure, like I said, I mentioned, this is reminding me when I first opened my store that every customer is really special, making them go away, wanting to come back, and word of mouth after that point. We should take advantage of that. The fact that I know that the residents in my town are freaking out about tax increases, tariffs, and when they come in my store, they don't have to think about it, right? They just don't. So,
yeah, I'm just second what everybody else said. Matt, you stole my line, so you stole my thunder. So I'll leave that up there. But again, we're not increasing prices. We're just keeping it as is for now. I think I'm not gonna stock up as much as Mustafa is. I'm gonna keep some capital, see where things go, and things come up. Maybe I'll have stuff added to my shopping cart, and I won't head to check out until I feel it. So maybe I'll just do that. I'll be ready for it. Guys, I want to thank everybody who took time out of their busy days, come in and kind of join the conversation, and I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one last thing,
good to
Matt.
be here. Thanks.
Not every customer is special, bro.
Hey, you got to say it. You got